showtime.
Okay guys, welcome back. You are watching the STPL. My name is Kix. I'm your caster, hoster, and organizer of the tournament. I'm solo casting today in case you're just tuning in, and we are going to be moving on to our fourth and final game of this evening. Bit of a quick cast, been 2 hours nearly, so not too quick, but we've had a few walkovers. Sorry, I should have waited until I was off camera to do that, but my nose is really itching, and this is really annoying. But either way, we are going to move on. Sorry, I just drank a load of water and I think it may be a bit gassy, but either way, let's head on over to the next screen as we have a look at who is going to be our next two players. Okay, so fighting for 9th team, it's going to be Tempest. It shows him as Terran, but he is going to be playing Zerg this game. He did race pick to sub for someone before. He is currently 0 for 1 in this round. That may be a little bit wrong, so I can update that as well. And he is currently 0-2 against Terran. He did play a TVT as well, but he went 0-2 last round as well. Tempest is a cool player. He of course is very active in the Discords and whatnot. He's not the highest MMR ranked player or anything, but he certainly puts a lot of effort into his STPL games and always shows good games. So a huge thank you to him for always showing up for his team too. And his opponent going to be a very strong Terran, arguably one of the top 3 foreign Terrans in Brood War at the moment. Obviously not in the tournament, not as highly ranked. He only went 3 for 2 last round, and he's currently only 1 for 1. So doing a pretty good job this round, not doing the best, but still doing a very good job either way. He did get his one loss against White. I think yeah, I think he did lose against White, but either way, 1 for 1 currently in this round, obviously, and he's 0 for 1 against Terran, but that doesn't matter because against Zerg here, and they are going to be playing on Hitchhiker. Now, Hitchhiker, one of the rare few maps in the Ice Tile set, did originate in 2007. One thing I do want to put in the overlay for next week, I'm going to put the years the maps came out, and also trying to think of if there's anything else I can put in there to make it look cool. Maybe the player number, but either way, it's a 2-player map, top left and bottom right hand corner spawns. And Dandy does play PvT, but this is going to be a versus Zerg, so it's going to be TVZ. But 10 and 5 o'clock position spawns, windy path going around the back. As you can see, the temples blocking that off, making it a little bit harder to push in. A very short rush distance in between the 2 middle bases. The natural quite open, a little bit harder for Zerg to hold. You want to try and hold a little bit further forward if you can. Very, very small choke there. Very good for lurkers, of course. And third base, quite far away if you want gas, but quite close if you want a mirror, a mineral only. So let's actually head on over to the overlay. Let's head on over to the game and let's get started with our fourth and final game of today. Okay, and starting us off here in the top left-hand side position, we do have fighting for SouL in the red. It's gonna be Dandy, the Peruvian power. And his opponent spawning down here in the bottom right-hand position. Fighting for 9th team, trying to get a little bit of pride back into their roster for this week. Of course, they are down 3-0, so it's not possible for them to win. It's not possible to make it to the ace match, but they can certainly make it 3-1, give themselves a very important point on the scoreboard. Obviously, every win does count towards the playoffs, which they are very, very close to making their way into. It's just a shame Tupac couldn't turn up for his game. He didn't turn up, which is why it is such a quick 3-0. But either way, Tempest looks like he's going to 9-pull here. No, he doesn't. He's actually going to drone scout very, very quickly. Wants to make sure he's not getting 8 racks. And I would say that's not necessarily a bad idea on this map. Very, very good for proxies. And you guys clearly haven't watched the STPL enough. The TVTs we've had have been amazing. Just to give you an idea of the games we've had, we had nearly an hour-long TBT between Roegi and Radley on this map, and we saw Lockdown as well from Ghosts, as well as a Nuke Silo. So we've seen some really cool stuff. Now we actually have Tempest being a little bit annoying, microing his drone pretty well against this building SCV, forces the SCV off of the building actually, and Dandy quickly does replace it of course, but back home we should have Tempest going for a hatchery here I think. I know it's going to be a 12 pull from him to start us off here. Now, 12 pull, a little bit of a middle of the road build, a little bit different in EVZ or ZVT as well. Don't really see that as much. But it's not a 9 pull, so it's not going to be all in or anything crazy like that. He is going to be able to expand behind this, which is exactly what he's going to do. Now, I did mention it's a little bit harder for Zerg to hold on. You can see this is quite a wide opening. It does give Bio a lot of space to maneuver around. But as you can see, the middle of the map, though, very, very tight. So if we do get to the point where the Bio forces are getting bigger and bigger, it's going to be harder for them to push through that middle when Lurkers come out. Now, of course, Dandy gonna scout the spawning pool. Gonna scout the gas as well, so he knows the speedlings are going to be on the way fairly shortly. Are we going to see a third hatchery here for Tempest, or is he going to learn from the Cadency train of thought and go for those 2 hatchery builds? Now, 2 hatchery builds obviously very strong. They are more... they are less economically focused, more aggressively focused, of course, especially 2 hatch muta builds. But not all 2 hatch muta builds are all in. Depending on the drones you go up to before you start pumping muteless and what you obviously do to transition, there's a lot of different variations of 2 hatch muta that I can... you know what, I'm going to be honest, and I can say as a non-Zerg player, and as someone who hasn't had too much time to really study Zerg builds entirely, because I don't get time to practice them or anything, it's a lot harder for me to really say exactly what variation of 2 hatch there are, but Cadency taught me a lot about the matchup. It is going to be 2 hatch layer, so Dandy is going to scout all of this, doing a pretty good job keeping his SCV alive, at least for the time being, making sure there is no third hatchery, but he does need to really check the other base just in case. But here we go, nice movement of the Lings by Tempest, just trying to keep the SCV from Dandy away. And it could actually manage to take it down, but looks like the SCV is going to go away. One of the Lings that was back here defending going to go down, but Dandy uncharacteristically loses his SCV pretty quickly. And now a Ling actually nearly takes down a Marine, but of course one Marine does beat one Ling. And surely going to be a good ZVT here. Now Dandy, of course, one of the best foreign Terrans, so a little bit harder for Tempest, of course, in this matchup, but Tempest looks like he wants to put up a fight. He's going for a very active build here, so he's actually gone in to a decent number of drones as natural, but they are going to be purely for gas at the moment. Lair has just finished up. We should see Spire. He actually skipped Ling Speed, so Ling Speed is not done. There is the Spire. We're going to see no third hatchery. It looks like he's going to pump a lot of drones in the meantime, just because he's sitting on a lot of minerals right now. I really am interested to see exactly what his plan is. Of course, he's going to need to add at least 1 sunken on, unless he wants to get caught out by something. And now, of course, Dandy doesn't have his engineering bay yet. That's going to be one of the last buildings he builds. So he's going to be relying entirely on Marines for the time being. Now, we do have a drone trying to get up to the top right, I think. I don't think he's realized the temples are blocking the drone or something, but yeah, you can see this is bugging out just a little bit. Maybe he was expecting to be able to go and build a hatchery up there, but unfortunately for him, not going to quite work out. Now, Dandy did scan twice. He does know it's 2 hatch lair coming in, 2 hatch muta even. He's going to be adding turrets immediately once this engineering base done. I should see them go down in his natural first of all, and then his main. I say that, and he's not actually building turrets yet, which is kind of dangerous against what his opponent's build is. There we go, he's adding on +1. And it looks like he wants to try and push through the map and try and force the Mutas to stay back home to defend. Oh, this could actually be a dangerous situation. Tempest has added the creep colonies on as the Terran left his base. But this is such a short rush distance that these Sunkens are not going to finish. Oh man, this could be a very anticlimactic end to the series as the first Sunken being taken down. He can stop attacking that now, and he does. When that finishes, that's going to die. clears both of them out. The Natural is going to go down. The Mulus are on the way. Can he try and hold on here with the Mulus? He's lost so many drones, lost so many Sunkens. No, some of the Mulus getting taken down as well. A great timing attack here by Dandy on this base, and that hatchery is going to go down. Tempest playing a little bit greedy, not adding on any units, adding on a lot of drones, not adding on any Sunkens too early. And unfortunately, I think this is going to be it for the series. Tempest is going to have an absolute... He's going to have a miracle to come back in this game. I'm usually not one to call it too early, but... I mean, Tempest has done his best here, but it's not going to be enough against Dandy. A lot more Mulus spawning in the eggs and going down. And with those Mulus go his hopes. He's actually got a Fire Bat in the Natural. He's stacking up his drones for it as well. 7 kills. I wanted Dandy to stay in the game a little bit longer to see that Fire Bat get more kills. But unfortunately, that is going to be it for that series. A little bit anticlimactic end, of course. The player scale was a little bit skewed towards Dandy's favour. Obviously, Dandy, one of the best Terran players outside of Korea. But still, Tempest did his best. I know that rhymes, and I said it twice, but I mean, he did a good job. He tried his best. It wasn't quite enough, and that's actually going to lead us on to the overlay. Let's have a quick look at what the results are for the series. And then we can sort of get ready to close out the stream. I'm going to announce what the next matchups are before the end of the stream, so don't go anywhere. But let's just move on over and I'll quickly run through the results. Okay, so as you can see, it was a 4-0 victory from SouL. That is going to propel them up the ranking table here. Now, I can't actually show you the updated one due to the null pointer exception in my overlay, but I'll show that off in the thread later. I'll post the new standings. Of course, we did see Noob take out Hero. Ultra won a walkover victory over Tupac. That's a little bit unfortunate there, but he did get that. Richley took down V1 in a fairly simple PvZ on New Sniper Ridge. And Dandy took down Tempest there in that TVC. Unfortunately, Tempest didn't have the Sunkens in time to deal with the 2 Rax Academy timing attack that Dandy had planned for him. And that is going to be the end of the series, of course. Now, just to answer one of the questions in chat, my 2 favorite races to cast are probably Protoss versus Terran. But CVP is really good as well, and of course my favourite mirror is TVT. I love TVT, and I will always continue love playing it and watching it. But either way, let me just quickly plop into the overlay what the next sets of matchups are going to be. I just need to quickly check in my all-important round 2 thread, which does have every single bit of information in that you could possibly want, along with the results and standings thread. Now, you do have the full accompaniment of trying to think of the right word. Full accompaniment of statistics and everything in there. All of that is in my database as well. I'm going to go through over the weekend and make sure that's fully fixed. I noticed a few things were wrong in that cast. It's just one of the things that happens sometimes. We're going to be moving on to week 6. And we have some fairly good games coming at you. So let me just quickly... put all of this in. There's actually some very important games as well, just due to the way everything is working out with the teams and everything. But it should be fairly fun. We've had fun. I've had a lot of fun in week 4 of the STPL, of course. I've had 2 days casting with Rapid, which is always a pleasure. I love casting with that guy. I'm quite close to him now. He stayed at my flat for a while, so got to know him pretty well there. But let me just bring on the overlay here, and then we can just round out the series. Okay, now of course, just for the moment at least, there is no current dates on when this is going to be. It's going to be Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. I'm not sure of what order to cast them in. But for the last time today, let's head on over to the overlay, and let's have a look at what our next matchups are going to be. And I say that once again. Not ready to swap. It's just the way it works. Okay, so as you can see from the overlay, next week we have another 5 series coming your way, all best of 5 of course. For Group A we have White Clan versus Media, Storm versus Ball Team, and DM Clan versus Net Wars. Then for Group B we have Net Wars... Huh, that shouldn't be Net Wars versus Ash, that's actually... Wait, where did I go wrong there? Okay, it's DM versus Naz in the end of that. Let me just quickly swap that over just so it looks right and it doesn't confuse people. I always make sure that everything's set up properly. I get quite anal about it. But I pressed N a little bit one too many times. But either way, let's bring that back up just to quickly announce the last 2 matchups. Now, it's going to be for Group B, Net Wars versus Ash. And then finally, to finish us off on the week, we're going to have Clan Revolution versus SouL Gaming. Now, in case you're wondering why there's less games in Group B, one team did drop out at the beginning of week 1, so that was unfortunate. It's going to be a little bit hard for some of the teams next week, but these are going to be the last. Okay, so these are the penultimate matches from round 2. One more week after next week, that's going to be week 7. And then we're going to be heading on to round 2 playoffs. So the STPL moving forward very, very quickly. We're at the end of round 2 almost. Been going for about 15, 16 weeks. And we are going to be going for at least another 16 weeks, I would say. So we're going to be heading on to Christmas time by the time this finishes off with the grand final. So hopefully you enjoyed the show today. If you do want to support the STPL, please feel free to hit that follow button. Obviously the best way to support is to tune in and watch again. If you do want to hit that sub button, please feel free as well, but don't feel inclined. The Matrino page is up as well. It gets spammed quite a lot in the chat. Currently, the prize pool for the entire STPL is sat at $1,122.80. I believe we may have run out of codes for now, but I'll try and get some more codes very soon as well to add to that prize pool. And I am very much looking forward to see how we do in week 6. Thank you for tuning in. Hopefully you had a good night. I know there was a few walkovers, but we made the best of it. And I will see you guys on Monday. Have a very good night, afternoon, morning, weekend, Friday, end of your day of work, and start to your weekend. Ciao.
Welcome home, Jesse.
Please, bring her back. I'll do anything.
Anything.
Build up my life.
For the host. Yeah, if you disconnect from the VPN, then you get a disconnect. Unfortunately, it's pretty reliable though. I would say it's definitely very reliable. I think I've had maybe 2 or 3 disconnects. That's it. Thanks, Herban.